Okay, Chip, one more Manhattan, but then I have to get home. TCM's showing one of my favorite movies tonight, and I don't want to miss it. The Best of Everything. Oh, it's great. Sex in the City, long before Sex in the City. 1959, 20th Century Fox. Hope Lang plays this sweet young thing from the country who moves to the big city to find a career and land a man. And she winds up getting a job at a big publishing company in the Seagram's building, working for bitter, bitchy book editor Joan Crawford. She also meets and falls in love with handsome book editor Stephen Boyd, who has a deep cleft in his chin and a tiny drinking problem. She also moves into an apartment with two other secretaries, one of whom is played by Diane Baker, who's dating this wealthy playboy played by Robert Evans, who later went on to become a big producer in Mary Alley McGraw. And he treats her like shit, and she gets knocked up, but she aborts the baby by jumping out of his convertible on the way to Maryland. And the other secretary is played by Susie Parker, who was a big model in those days, and she's dating this big Broadway producer played by Louis Jourdan, who treats her like shit, so of course she goes nuts and starts hanging out on his fire escape, spying on him. And one night she catches her heel in the grating of the fire escape because, of course, in those days women wore heels when they went spying on their boyfriends, and she falls off the fire escape into the alley and dies next to the garbage cans. Meanwhile, back at the office, Joan quits her job because she wants to get married and she realizes she can't have a career and a marriage. So Hope Lang gets Joan's old job and Stephen Boyd, and that's the best of everything. I love it. I think I like it so much because it kind of reminds me of when I lived in New York ages ago, and I was seeing Larry, my first, and I had no idea. I'd never been in a relationship at all, ever. And of course, back then, I was the younger man. He lived in a brownstone in Chelsea, same block as Anthony Perkins. Working fireplaces, big tall windows, 10-foot ceilings. And of course, he lived with somebody, Mark, and there was no way they were going to split up over little old me, which Mark made abundantly clear to me one night. Still, I was in awe. I always felt like this impoverished, homely bumpkin around them. They had beautiful things. A little country house up north of the city in Garrison on the Hudson. They went to Morocco every year. Oh, and he could cook. Larry was a great cook. Before I met him, I'd never tasted pesto. I'd never tasted tarragon. Weekends, we'd go to this disco in the basement of an old hotel off Times Square, where they had white palm trees and upholstered banquettes. And on the roof, there was a juice bar. And we'd go up there and smoke a little weed and look out over Times Square. That was magic. And of course, by Monday evening, I was sure that he was tired of me and would never want to see me again, and I'd go to bed in tears. But they had it all. They had the best of everything, so I thought. You know what I like about you, Chip? You're the only bartender in town who really listens to me when I talk.